Welcome to the next lecture on entrepreneurship. In this lecture, we are going to talk about MSME, that is micro, small, and medium enterprises. Okay, so let us start. What are the learning outcomes? To know about MSME, to understand the role of MSME, and to be familiar with problems of MSME and to understand the importance of MSME for entrepreneurship development. So let us start. What is the role of MSME? Why MSME is important? Okay. So the first thing that comes in our mind is MSME contributes significantly to the development process. MSME dominate the industrial scenario in the country with sizable proportion of labor force and tremendous export potential. Okay, so MSME are complementary to large industries as ancillary units and form an integral part of value chain for building a conducive environment for indigenous skills, grassroots innovations and entrepreneurship development. In fact, a vital link in the industrialization in terms of production, employment, and exports for economic prosperity by widening entrepreneurial base and use of local raw materials and indigenous skills. This is very much of importance that we are talking about local raw material that is available with the local people and the skills that they possess. Okay, next is MSMEs play a significant role in the economic growth and contribute to 29.7% of GDP and 49.66% of exports. We are talking with respect to India, and this is one of the recent data. The sector offers employment to nearly 60 million people through 28.5 million enterprises, and it is after the agriculture sector which is providing the largest number of jobs. Okay, employment. Fine. This sector produces a wide range of products from simple consumer goods to high precision sophisticated finished products. So MSME is very much important for our country. Okay. Now let us see some of the subgroup of MSME. In India, if we talk about MSME, then it consists of both traditional as well as modern small industries. Fine. So what are the subgroups? Right from we can see here handloom, handicrafts, coir, sericulture, khadi, small scale industries, power looms and village industries. Okay. Next is what are the parameters for defining the MSME sector? So several parameters can be used to measure the size of a business unit. Okay, like we can say about the number of persons employed, okay, or the capital invested in a particular business, or we can talk about turnover of business. So what exactly the measures are, the parameters are that government of India have used, it has used, it is the nothing but investment in plant and machinery and the turnover. Okay, so the definition used by the government of India to describe MSME is based on the investment in plant and machinery and turnover. So this measure seeks to keep in the view the socio economic environment in India where capital is scarce and the labor is abundant. So where capital is scarce and labor is abundant. Okay. Now we can classify on the basis of investment in plant and machinery and turnover. If we talk about micro enterprises, the investment is 1 crore and turnover does not exceed 5 crores. A small enterprises 10 crores investment in plant and machinery and does not exceed 50 crores if we talk about turnover. What about medium? 50 crores of investment and the turnover doesn't exceed 250 crores. If we talk about percentage share of MSMEs in, then micro enterprises constitute 99.4%, small enterprises 0.5% and medium enterprises 0.1% in India. Okay. Now, if we talk about Act for MSME sector, then we are going to see that the emergence of a large service sector has necessitated the government to include other enterprises covering both small scale industry sector and related service industry under the same umbrella. Expansion of the small enterprises was taking place, growing into medium enterprises, and they were required to adopt higher levels of technology in order to remain competitive in a fast globalizing world. So, to remain competitive for the survival, they have to adopt a higher level of technology. So, it was necessary to address the concerns of such enterprises as micro, small, and medium and provide them with a single legal framework. That's why the Act for MSME sector was required. So the MSMEDs Act 2006 came into force with effect from October 2006 and the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Act 2006 addressed these issues relating to its definition, credit, marketing and technology upgradation. Okay. Medium scale enterprises and service related enterprises also come under the purview of this act. So the act is what? MSMED Act 2006, which defines the nature of MSME sector, how the service sector related enterprises also come into this picture under the purview of this act. It has been defined. Okay. Now coming on to the village industry. Village industry has been defined as any industry located in a rural area. So as the name suggests, we are talking about village industry. So location is where? In a rural area, which produces any goods, renders any service with or without the use of power, and in which the fixed capital investment per head or artisan or worker is specified by the central government from time to time. Okay. Next is cottage industries. These are also known as rural industries or traditional industries. They are not defined by capital investment criteria as in the case of other small scale industries. Okay. Now coming on to the role of MSME. Fine. So let us see why it is important. Okay. So first thing is that development of MSME prevents migration of rural population. Why? Because if we are providing the employment opportunities in the rural area, so definitely migration will be prevented. So why they are migrating in search of employment, and then it contributes to other socio-economic aspects such as reduction in income inequalities, dispersed development of industries and linkage with other sectors of the economy. Fine. Next is, if we talk about the promotion of MSME and rural industrialization has been considered by the government of India as a powerful instrument for realizing the twin objective. And what are these twin objectives? Of accelerated industrial growth and creating additional productive employment potential in rural and backward areas. So we are promoting two things simultaneously. One is industrial growth and the other thing byproduct is what? Additional productive employment opportunities we are creating in rural and backward areas. So the contribution of these industries to the balanced regional development of our country is noteworthy. Small industries in India account for 95% of the industrial units in the country. Okay. Next, MSMEs are the second largest employers of human resource after agriculture. Okay. MSME in our country supply an enormous variety of products which include mass consumption goods, ready-made garments, hosiery goods, stationery items, soaps and detergents, domestic utensils, leather, plastic and rubber goods, processed foods and vegetables, wood and steel furniture, paints, varnishes, safety matches, etc. Okay. A special mention should be made of handlooms, handicrafts, and other products from traditional village industry in view of their export value. MSME, which produce simple products using simple technologies and depend on locally available resources, both material and labor, can be set up anywhere in the country. So, what can be the result? The benefits of industrialization can be reaped by every region, thus contributing significantly to the balanced development of the country. So, the benefits of the industrialization can be reaped by every region, thus contributing significantly to the balanced development of the country. So, MSME provide ample opportunity for entrepreneurship. Their capabilities or the latent talent can be used, the skills can be used for the creation of new job opportunities, or the ideas can be converted into the business by promoting their skills. Okay. Next one is they also enjoy the advantage of low cost of production. Why? Because locally available resources are less expensive. Establishment and running cost of small businesses are on the lower side because of low overhead expenses. So the low cost of production, it is a competitive advantage or competitive strength of MSME sector. Fine. Due to the small size of the organization, quick and timely decisions can be taken without consulting many people as it happens in large sized organizations. Fine. So new business opportunities can be captured at the right time because we are not going to consult so many people. So this can be achieved. Fine. Now we are going to see about the problems associated with MSME, because we have seen earlier that all the advantages are because of low cost of production. We are going to establish in rural areas or village industry we have talked about. So what are the potential problems associated with MSME? So MSMEs are at a distinct disadvantage as compared to large scale industries. Why? Because the scale of operations, availability of finance, ability to use modern technologies, fine, procurement of raw materials are some of these areas. And if we talk about combination of these things, so they will create some problems which can be grouped in the following thing. As you can see here, we have talked about finance, one of the severe problems associated with MSME sector, that is non availability of adequate finance to carry out its operations. Fine. Next, if we talk about next problem is about the raw materials. So it is another major problem. because if we talk about procurement of raw materials, so it creates problem. Why? Because they are small in size. So if the required material is not available, then they have to compromise on the quality or have to pay a high price to get a good quality materials. So their bargaining power is also small because they are not having that much of capacity. Fine. So raw material procurement is also one of the major thing. Next, managerial skills. If we talk about managerial skills in general, what happens in MSME, the business unit is created or run by one person. Okay, so a single person who is operating the MSME sector or MSME unit, he cannot or may not have all the required managerial skills to run the business. So it is one of the important problems. Fine. Next one is about the marketing. Why marketing is required? So marketing is required for the generation of revenues. Fine. If we don't do the marketing or effective marketing is not that much of standard, then ultimately we are lagging in the business opportunities. So effective marketing of goods requires a thorough understanding of the customer's needs and requirements, and in most cases if we talk about MSME sector, so marketing is a weaker area of the small organizations. Next is we talk about quality. Many MSMEs do not adhere to desired standard of quality. Why? Because their concentration is on the low price. Okay, they want to cut the price. Why? At the cost of production, so that they are able to produce the product at the low price. So they do not have adequate resources to invest in quality research and maintain the standards of the industry, nor do they have the expertise to upgrade the technology. So maintaining quality is one of the greatest challenge. Capacity utilization. Fine. Due to lack of marketing skills or lack of demand, many firms have to operate below full capacity, due to which their operating costs tend to increase. Gradually, this leads to sickness and closure of the business. Further problem is global competition. Apart from the problems stated above, MSME are not without fears, especially in the present context of globalization. These enterprises face competition not only from the medium and large industry but also from multinational companies, okay, which are giants in terms of their size and business volume. Fine. Next is how MSME and entrepreneurship development are correlated. So every country, whether developed or developing, needs entrepreneurs to support their economy. Okay. If we talk about a developing country, they need entrepreneurs to initiate the process of development, while the developed one needs entrepreneurs to sustain it. Okay. So in the present Indian context, where we are seeing on the one hand employment opportunities in public sector and large scale sectors are sinking, and on the other hand vast opportunities arising from globalizations are waiting to be exploited. Entrepreneurship can really take India to the heights of becoming a super economic power. Okay. Thus, the need for entrepreneurship arises from the functions of entrepreneur perform in relation to the process of economic development and in relation to the business enterprise. And MSME sector plays a vital role in providing that ecosystem, because the cost or the running thing or the starting the business is quite simple when we talk about MSME sector. Okay. Now, what are the government assistance to small business unit? So, both at the central and state level, they are participating in promoting self-employment opportunities in rural areas by providing assistance in respect of infrastructure, finance, technology, training, raw materials, and marketing. How they are supporting? Let us see. National through National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development NABARD, the Rural Small Business Development Center RSBDC, National Small Industries Corporation, Rural and Women Entrepreneurship Development RWED, Scheme of Fund for Regeneration of Traditional Industries Spurti, the District Industries Center. Let us see one by one. If we talk about NABARD, established in 1982 to promote integrated rural development. Fine. Apart from agriculture, it supports small industries, cottage and village industries, and rural artisans using credit and non-credit approaches. Okay. Counseling is being offered, consultancy services, and organizes training and development programs for rural entrepreneurs. Let us talk about RSBDC. Sponsored by NABARD, it works for the benefit of socially and economically disadvantaged individuals and groups. Through its program, it covers a large number of rural unemployed youth and women in several trades, which includes food processing, soft toys making, ready-made garments, candle making, incense stick making, two-wheeler repairing and servicing, vermicomposting, and non-conventional building materials. So RSBDC is helping the rural youth and women. Next, we talk about NSIC, that is National Small Industries Corporation. It was set up in 1955, and why it has been set up? To aid and foster the growth of small business unit in the country. What are the basic focus point? Supply indigenous and imported machines on easy hire purchase terms, procure, supply and distribute indigenous and imported raw materials, export the products of small business units and develop export worthiness, mentoring and advisory services, that is serve as technology business incubators, creating awareness on technological upgradation, developing software technology parks and technology transfer centers. Next, we talk about RWED, that is Rural and Women Entrepreneurship Development. So it aims at promoting a conducive business environment and at building institutional and human capacities that will encourage and support the entrepreneurial initiatives of rural people and women. Okay, let us see about Spurti. To make the traditional industries more productive, more viable, and competitive, and to facilitate their sustainable development, the central government set up in the year 2005 this scheme. Okay, so main objectives are what? To develop clusters of traditional industries in various parts of the country, to build innovative and traditional skills, improve technologies, and encourage public private partnership. So the government and the private players are coming together, develop market intelligence, and to make them competitive, profitable, and sustainable, and to create sustained employment opportunity in traditional industry. So we are focusing on traditional one. Okay. Next one is DICs. The District Industry Center was launched on 1st of May 1978 with a view to providing an integrated administrative framework at the district level, which would look at the problems of industrialization in a district in a composite manner. Identification of suitable schemes, preparation of feasibility reports, arranging for credit, machinery and equipment, provision of raw materials and other extension services are the main activities undertaken by these centers. Next one is one of the important scheme, that is known as Startup India scheme. It is a flagship initiative of Government of India with an objective to carve a strong ecosystem for nurturing innovation and its startups in the country. It will lead towards sustainable economic growth, and generate large scale employment opportunity, because if we are going to see large number of startups, so ultimately they will require people, they will hire with an innovative idea. Okay, so the government of India aims to empower startups to grow through innovation and design. So what are the aims? Let us see. Trigger an entrepreneurial culture and inculcate entrepreneurial values in the society at large and influence the mindset of people towards entrepreneurship. It will create awareness about the charms of being an entrepreneur and process of entrepreneurship, especially among youth. Okay. Next is it encourages more dynamic startups by motivating educated youth, scientists, and technologists to consider entrepreneurship as a lucrative, preferred, and viable career. Support the early phase of entrepreneurship development, including the pre startup, nascent, as well as early post startup phase and growth enterprises. Broad base the entrepreneurial supply by meeting specific needs of underrepresented target groups like women, socially and economically backward communities, scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Okay, so if we talk about the definition, so as per the notification dated 17th February 2017 issued by Ministry of Commerce and Industry, a startup means an entity incorporated or registered in India, not older than 5 years, annual turnover does not exceed rupees 25 crore in any preceding year, working toward innovation, development or commercialization of products, services, processes driven by technologies or intellectual property rights and patent. Okay. Now, now let us talk about action points of Startup India initiative. This can be grouped into following points, that is simplification and hand holding, Startup India Hub, legal support and fast tracking patent examination, easy exit, harnessing private sector for incubator setup and tax assumptions. Okay, so ultimately what government of India is wanting, they are providing simplified procedures to start or to get registered. They are creating single framework so that it is easy to provide the ecosystem for a budding entrepreneurs. They are providing the legal support. The patent examination is going to be fast tracked. If suppose failure occurs, then there is an procedure, easy procedure for easy exit. Okay, for incubator setup, public private partnership can be looked or is being looked. Tax exemption is there to promote the entrepreneurs to get the maximum benefit. Okay, now how to we fund the startup? What are the ways? So let us see: bootstrapping, crowdfunding, angel investment, venture capital, business incubators and accelerators, microfinance and NFBCs. If we talk about bootstrapping, what exactly it means? We are talking about the resources available with the self. So self financing, the first option. But if you are having limited requirement of the capital, then only this option is viable. Otherwise, we can find about the thing of crowdfunding. That is, we look for group of people for investment or creating the capital. Next is angel investment. Some individuals have surplus money that can be invested for a particular startup and they are looking for it. Okay. Now, if we talk about venture capitalist, that is the venture capital, it is one of the important ways of funding the startup. If your project is viable, if they look for the sustainability of your business, and they find that is if they are having the thing that okay, we can do the business in a sustainable manner, then they are going to invest in your business. Okay, next is business incubators and accelerators. So at the starting point, the business incubators are used for the startup phase, and after that in the post phase the accelerators are being used. If you don't have the banking facility, then we think of microfinance and NFBCs, non-banking, non-financial banking corporations. Okay, so if your need is not going to be met by the banks or you are not eligible for that, then you can think of microfinance and NFBCs. Okay, these are the references. You can look for the details here. Thank you for watching.